So you guys, we're headed out to do a little seashelling today. We're on the Dufour Arpege 30 in Beaufort, South Carolina. We're going to go out to one of the remote islands and go by dinghy up onto a beach and do some shelling with you guys. You can see a couple storms off in the distance, way back in the distance that way right there. There's a storm back that way and right around here. Over on our port side, there's a storm way off in the distance that way also. But we're gonna be headed over here in this blue skies. Nice day for sailing. We're averaging about 6 to 7 miles per hour, and it is gorgeous out here today. Stick with us and we'll show you what we find shelling. So we've made it out to where the Combahee River meets the Coosaw River, which make up the St. Helena Sound. And off in the distance right there, that's where we headed. Sailing today is going pretty smooth, isn't it, Stephanie?
It is.
We're working out a lot of kinks.
Yeah, it's going good. Pretty day.
How you like that little umbrella, Stephanie?
We like it. It's working out great. Last one we lost out here, so I'm glad this one's staying. Got this one tied on. We lost one out here a few weeks ago.
How fast are we going now?
5.9, I think.
5.9 miles per hour.
Yeah.
What is that in knots?
I have no idea.
A little over 5 miles an hour. 5 knots, I bet. 1 knot is 1.2 miles per hour. Starting to see the Combahee light. This is a great spot right here that people come and do cobia fishing.
Yeah, it is. Right where the big shark Mary Lee tagged a few years ago and made a lot of people remember where the Combahee light was.
A lot of the great white sharks are being tagged off the coast of South Carolina right now.
Yep.
Our warm waters have lured them right in with all the bait. So we're in about 40 foot of water. So we've made it over to the barrier island, and off in the distance right there is Edisto Beach. So guys, we made it out here on this beach and we've anchored the sailboat. We're out here in the little dinghy. I'm gonna be pulling up a weather app on the phone. It's called Tides Near Me, and I'm gonna be figuring out what the tide's actually doing, because I'm using this galvanized stop right here. And if I have to, I'll pull the front end around. The tide is dropping out, so we just don't know how much longer it's going to be until it's low tide. But Stephanie's going to take you guys sailing.
You ready to go? Let's go. I don't see a whole lot down on the water's edge, so I'm gonna walk up here in the crowd of shells and see if I see anything up here. I showed you guys the same shell patch before. You see, it's just crushed up shells. You see this shell just crush and run basically right here. Tons of shells crushed up. Nothing whole really. See broken pieces of a few things. Just some broken pieces of clam shell right now. My eyes are peeled. This is the beach we normally find sand dollars on, so I'm kind of looking in all kind of areas. It's been a little while since we've been here, a few weeks. So the tides have changed variously within those few weeks. Leaves things all over the place. Look. It's a piece of a broken sand dollar, and that would have been a pretty good sized one. Look how big just the piece is. There's a few oyster shells. They are pretty. There's just a lot of them around here, so I don't collect them. A broken razor clam. Broken on that edge. Coquina or Docinia. I cannot keep those two straight. Another razor clam. Shadow out of the way. Really pretty arc shell. Large arc. Clam shells and oyster shells. Beautiful day just to be out on the beach though. Oliver's still down there finagling how he wants to leave his new to me boat. And it is turtle nesting season, so you do not see me up in the dunes. I'm down here on the beach because we do not want to interfere with any of the turtles' nests. Another piece of a large sand dollar. No whole ones yet today, though. It's a pretty pair. It's got a little clam growing inside of it, so I'm actually going to leave it right here. Just hung on to it. And I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but way up towards that tree that's fallen up there in the grass, there's a little orange stick sticking out of the ground. So you can see this on this beach, they've got a lot of area of dune to crawl up and kind of be safe. The normal rack line for the high tide is right through here. But as you can see, sometimes the tides do get high enough that they do come all the way up into that area. So hopefully those turtle eggs will be safe up there. They've already been marked and tracked, so I know they're under watch. Another razor clam. Some of the regular clams. This is a cool type of clam right here. This one's broken, but there's little ledge markings on it. They're raised a little bit, so it's really neat, pretty type. An arc shell. Really large ghost crab hole. Not really finding much yet, guys. Just the normal. That's okay. Those are still beautiful. I just have plenty of them, so that's why I'm not stopping at each one of them. Another marking of a turtle nest right there. Another one right there. So far just along this little short spot of the beach, we've come across 3 turtles' nests already that have already been marked. I feel sure sometimes there's some up there that are not marked. That's a pretty color razor clam. It's not a common color. It is broken along the edge on the back. That one's really pretty. We came at about half tide, so oh, look at there. Oh, this one was alive. Unfortunately, he's probably been dried out too long up here on the land without any water. You see how far away the water is, and the tide's actually just not going out, so it means he's probably been up here for several hours. A sand dollar. Really pretty. I kept checking just to make sure I wasn't seeing any kind of movement, guys, but no, he is deceased. Oh, another one right here. Oh. No, he's completely dried out. Most of his little philia hairs are already gone off of him, actually. So he's probably been through a few tide cycles, maybe, of being dried out up here. Really pretty sand dollars, though. I'll clean them up, bleach them out a little bit, the ones that have that on them. Oh, look at there. That's really pretty. That's a very different color. A baby's ear is broken a little bit right here toward my thumb. Wow. Really pretty color. Got some sand in it. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that was kind of broken all the way through there. He looks like a little whale. Really pretty though. I love those. Another sand dollar right here too, guys. Very dried out already. And as you guys that are familiar with our channel know, we do not take anything that is alive, just out of personal choice first and foremost, but because it is illegal in most places as well. Do not take anything that is alive. Those sand dollars are dark in color just because they haven't been dead long enough to have shed that last little layer. Wow, that's a big ghost crab hole too. How big? But they haven't shed that last little layer of their exoskeleton. Sand dollars are actually a sea urchin, so that's like their little spines. Look at there. They're not really spines, they're actually just like a philia type structure, and they filter the foods and help move the little tiny foods that they eat along their body towards that center hole in the back of them, which is their mouth. Then so all those little moving hair, the cilia, will basically help feed the animal. No danger to humans, of course. They're little teeny spines, but they're not dangerous. Of course, if you see them moving, that means they are alive, so please put them back. Another one that's deceased. And over time, these are the ones that would sit here in the sun and bleach out, because for the ones of you know a lot about tides, or just know some about tides, the tides move all the time. So that's why you see lots of different lines of debris where the tides have moved in and out over the days. So that sand dollar would sit up here. It would end up in this lighter color sand, which means it's not getting wet constantly. Another one, like see right here where it's at. It's right here on the verge of being out of the way, where the next tide may not even hit it. So then it's going to sit out here for a couple days while the tide changes and then comes back in reverse. As the days move along into the months. But anyway, it'll be bleached out, and then somebody will be walking along and find a white sand dollar. That's how that happens. That sand dollar, when they're white like that, they've just already been out here long enough to have basically lost all their outer portions of their body. There's one. He was trying to bury himself in the sand. I'll make sure, because he was covered in sand a little bit. But when they're alive, it would be kind of like a glistening white, even though those do kind of glisten because it's got little sand particles on it, so it may glisten a little bit in the sunlight, almost like glitter. but they're not like a live sand dollar would be slick looking, because all of its little legs are wet, the little cilia. They're wet, so they're moving around and stuff, so you can see these are very dull and not wet at all. Oh, look at the little teeny tiny one. I almost walked right by it. Very pretty. I love the tiny sand dollars too. I don't have very many of those. And I was slowing down because I saw this one right here, right in the edge of the dunes, and you can see what I mean, how it's been up here longer. So it's dried out even more so than the other ones that I have. Like the other one I just picked up. You can see this is a little darker in color still. This one's already starting to bleach out some, and it's lost most of its little spiny cilia off of it. I almost walked by this one too. There's one. Completely deceased. Good portion of a shark eye shell. It's broken on the back. But as our regular viewers know, that doesn't discourage me. I still think it's beautiful. I haven't found another one today, so there's some trash. I did not bring my trash bag with me today since we came off the sailboat. I completely forgot about it. Another big piece of a shark eye shell. Just chunk off of one side. I think I like the ones that are broken like that because I can see the interior of it and how it's made. I really like to be able to see that. Oh, here's a sand dollar. That's more like what you guys, some of you would know. So this one's been out for a long time, bleached completely out. Look how beautiful. You can see all the little portions of its body. It was starting to deteriorate some on the back. It's been out so long. Oh, there's another one that's been bleached out. It's completely white. I'm just going to brush some of the sand off of it. But yeah, this is definitely turning out to be our place where we gather sand dollars, looks like. It's mostly all I found today. I'm walking higher along the rack line because you guys know I usually like to walk the dunes, you know, except for, like I said, right now it is turtle nesting time has come in, so I'm not in the dunes at all. Pretty sand dollar there. So I'm just on the highest point that I feel comfortable being without being in the dunes. Speaking of such, there's a turtle's nest that we're walking by right now. It actually looks like it's been caved in, so actually it looks like I see lots of turtle eggs casings around it. So I'm gonna come carefully up just for the science of you guys being able to see it. So here was a turtle's nest, and it looks like some critter, probably a raccoon or possum or something like that, fox maybe, found out, you know, or figured out these were here, could smell them. an instinct, told them where they were, and they came and dug them up, and looks like they ate them. You can see the eggshells all around the perimeter of the nest. Of course, if the eggs would have hatched naturally, the eggshells would have stayed basically inside. Maybe, hopefully, some animal found these that were already going bad that didn't hatch out or something like that, and then went through them, and the rest of them hopefully got away. We'll go with that one. All right. Piece of sea whip in the dunes on the way back to my bucket. I hate that. But we're all in this ecosystem together. Clam shells and some razor clams. Pretty arc shell. Another little different kind of arc shell there. Huge ghost crab hole. Pretty piece of coral. Sand dollar. I do see a piece of trash that I can get. One of these shells, shotgun shell. Put that in my bucket. It's small. Tote it. Oh, and look, it led me to another sand dollar. Oh, that one's really light. You see the wind blew it right out of my hand. That pretty piece of coral. It's on the whelk shell. No, it's actually on a cockle shell. I thought it was a broken whelk from underneath. But look at all that coral growing on it. And also right here, it's another type of razor clam. This one's the jackknife razor clam. I've always grew up calling it a lady's finger. I'm trying to keep my fragile sand dollars today, so maybe I'll try to keep my fragile lady's finger. Normally I don't try to keep those because they are very fragile and they tend to get broken. The wider razor clams do as well. I think I'm gonna start heading back to Oliver. So on the way back, I'm gonna walk the water line. Oh, and look what was given to me. Beautiful. Broken on one edge, but that's okay. Still really pretty. It's been bleached out, so it's been out for quite a while. some bugs crawling around that one. I thought it might have been something to show you guys. Nothing. It's a driftwood, I think it looked like. There's a pretty sand dollar, a big one. Beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous. I see a disturbance right there, so I'm gonna check it out. Look, there's a portion of the broken sand dollar. Oh, and this one's dug down in the sand. It may still be alive because I can see the sand is still kind of wet around it. I'm gonna go closer to the water and clean it off and see, because I can't tell. It actually looks like it's dead, but I want to be 100% certain. If he is alive, I'm gonna put him right back where he was, but I don't think he's... Oh, I do see some movement. Yay! He is alive. Okay, so I'm gonna put him out here, so I know he's got a chance. He's gonna be back in some water. I'm gonna go a little deeper so he doesn't get tossed around. Let him get his bearings. Hope I don't get you guys wet. You know, when you're standing at the beach, how the sand will kind of wash around you and suck you down into the sand a little bit with the edges of your feet in the water. I let it do that to him a little bit, so that way he can kind of get his bearings. You seen he was partially covered with the sand already. That's what he had tried to do on the tide's way out, was bury himself, so he would be safe until the water came back in. But he didn't get it all the way. And it is very hot out here. And as you can see, when I first picked him up, he was really weak, or she. I don't really know about the sex of, I think I have read about it, but I don't remember it, of a sand dollar. Some little oyster shells make me think they're sand dollars every once in a while when I see them sticking out of the sand a little bit, so I have to investigate to make sure it's not. So I'm just kind of scanning the beach, you know, looking around as I walk. I'm just kind of holding you guys right down the beach, though. Y'all are just taking a little walk with me. Clamshell. This beach doesn't have a whole lot of shells on it. It's a nice beach, though. A very beautiful beach. As you see, no people. People do kind of hang out on the other side up here, as we showed you when we drove in, or when we sailed in. And a few of them do probably walk the beach, but Not as many. They sit around and hang out at their boat and party and stuff. I've sat around on the other side a few times myself, hanging out instead of walking the beach. And you can see why people would want to. It's just this nice on the other side as well. It's a pretty island. Just not a whole lot of shells. Quality though, look at these sand dollars. They're gorgeous. I love finding them. See the sandpiper fly around me and go land back there. Oh, look, there's one. It's still in the water kind of, so maybe it'll be alive. Yeah, I see lots of movement. So I'm gonna let this one show you guys kind of how a sand dollar moves. We'll put him right here in the edge of the water. I know it's not fast, but you guys can see that like little ring kind of forming around it. It's kind of already moving the little bits of sand all around it, kind of submerging itself into the sand a little bit. So it'll just slowly move forward into the sand, whichever direction it's choosing. Looks like straight away from me, towards the water. And I can see one little trail on its backside of where it's already moved. I know this camera can't pick it up, but all the little cilia at the ends of the edge of the sand dollar are moving a little bit. Now you can see how big that ridge is getting kind of in front of him, where it's already moved that far. And left a little trail where it's moving kind of that way and that way. So that's how slowly a sand dollar moves, guys. But it helps hold in that sand. You might can see it better now that I've stood up. You can see that little ridge that's more developed around it. And it's this close to the water's edge, it'll be okay. The sun's starting to go down. It's getting a little cooler in the afternoon. Won't be bleached out. The tide's going to be turning right here in just a little bit, and so it's going to turn and wash right back up to it. I wanted to stay in shallow enough water that I could show you guys without worrying about splashing the camera. So now that I walked away and came back, you can see that little spot where he's moving in pretty well. He's top speed right there. It's pretty cool animals though. Here what I come upon. So the last two I found at the water's edge were alive, I believe. Look at this one. Beautiful. It is already deceased. No thinking about it. It doesn't have any of its little outer shell anymore. The little spines of its self. Looks like a sand dollar movement right here in front of me. Yeah, look. I'm not going to pick him up because I know right here at the water, just like the last one, he should be alive. You see the movement he's been making already. The water's right here at him, so it's just now left him. Actually, if I look really close, I think I can see the little movement. Yep, I can. I don't know if you guys can. But you see his little trail. His little sand dollar walk. So we're going to walk right on past him. Kind of showed you guys how it works already, so there's no reason for me to move him. Look, there's a big piece of a broken one. Driftwood. Jellyfish. A little different one than the one I normally show you guys. Normally the one I see up here is the cannonball jellyfish, but this is a different type. It's got some other little tentacles around him. So I'm not touching him. I don't know what he is. And I don't like jellyfish stings. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had one, but they are no moss. For sure. I do not want any more of those. Piece of the broken sand dollar. The clam. I stepped right over a little razor clam. Lots of those out here. The saltwater mussel, look at the iridescence in it. There's another sand dollar up here. Now he's been out of the water a good bit. I'm certain he's probably still alive though. I'm gonna look and see if I see any movement before I do move him. I don't really see any movement. Oh, I see some very, very faint movement, so we're gonna move him back down to the water. Stationary right there. here what's washed up on the beach. Some old tire that somebody has disposed of out here some kind of way. Probably off of something that's been dumped somewhere. Eventually it will be a home to animals though, even if it's just the barnacles that grow on it. It'll sink into the sand some. Maybe even over time completely. This pretty one. This one's already bleached out. It's already deceased. And you can see this is where the little hole in the back of the mouth is. So those little legs, when they grab something down here, they all filter it forward toward that hole in the center where the mouth actually is. A lot of seaweed washed up through this little spot. Oh, I almost walked past it. Let me go back. Look at there. It's a sand dollar. And this had a different color pattern on it. That black's not natural. It's not coming off though, and it's not soaked through to the outside, so it must be some minerals that have washed over it have kind of stained it black. Look at the cool imprint of where it was. Looked like a little earth. And there's the inside part of a cannonball jellyfish, which I have shown you guys before, but the whole bell part of it is gone. And there's those little shells from that tube worm casing, I believe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember from a previous viewer comment that I'm thankful for, that somebody's trying to help me learn something. We are always open to learning more. Pretty big cockle shell. It's got a little piece of coral on top. Some oysters on the inside. That way about got my little buckets in my bag, my camera bag. Part of a broken sand dollar right there. A little teeny jellyfish. That big pretty oyster. Really pretty. Pretty arc shell. Got some peaches. It's got a couple little tiny oysters starting to grow on it, or probably even some of those little jingle shells or slipper shells. A little piece of jellyfish. We've almost made it back to Oliver. Oh, he's got a few things to show you.
So guys, I didn't get a chance to walk with Stephanie and y'all down the beach. I don't even know what she's found and showing y'all. I've been sitting here with the little skiff and I got it turned around where the bow's facing the water, and I put my pole out, you know, so the skiff's taking the impact on the front of it. But in the meantime, I'm watching this boat and the sailboat just to make sure that we're safe in what we're doing. I did get the opportunity to walk up the beach a little bit, and I found this piece of seaweed. It's dried out pretty good. Stephanie may know more about what type it is.
Yeah, that's the dead man fingers, the sea sponge.
And I found this cockle shell, and it's covered in the pits, and it's got a lot of the pretty orange colors in it, so I just wanted to show it to you guys. I picked up they are occupied. It's a couple whelk shells. Well, actually it's 3 of them. Another thing I picked up is this little piece of barnacle, and I just liked it because if you notice, guys, this center part right here, this big hole, I think that was a huge barnacle. And then these babies were growing on it, and they have a pretty purple color to them, so I thought it was a unique. Here's a piece of a shell that has some coral growing on it. Here's an old cockle shell, and for some reason there was some type of oyster shell or something growing in it with a lot of orange colors to it, and I thought that was unique. Yeah. And here's another thing that I've learned from Stephanie, because a lot of the things that I learned either from you guys or Stephanie. Wormholes. I learned that from Stephanie watching some of the, because I've learned a lot from Stephanie watching her also. So this is just a cockle shell with a couple of little oyster shells on it, and these are wormholes that they have built up, I guess, under the mud over time. So that's pretty cool. So that's the things I found, because mostly I was sitting here watching the boat. And Stephanie, I'm sure she showed you a lot of things, and if you want to come along with us, we're going to get back in the dinghy, get back to our sailboat. We still got about 3 hours to get back to the house. Sailboats ain't fast, 5-6 mile an hour, so we need to get back on the move. Wow, guys, right off the point of this island, we was back on that side of it, and coming back to the sailboat, we got in about 2 foot of water. Had to tilt the motor up a little bit and just ease on across it, but we made it back to the sailboat. Let's get this back on the sailboat and get this thing off anchor and head on back.
We got the spinnaker up. Look at that beauty. Shug, you look hot.
It's very hot out here, but I'm super excited because this is the first time that we successfully got the spinnaker up on the sailboat, and the colors of it and stuff with the surrounding area is just beautiful.
I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed shelling with us today and a little bit of sailing as we've done. We're headed back towards the house now. The sun's about to set. Got the spinnaker up. And the Mainsail out. It's just a beautiful afternoon. We've appreciated you guys joining us along. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Check us out on Facebook. We'll see you guys next time for another salty reflection.
So guys, Stephanie's already said her goodbyes, and I just wanted to say mine on this video. We in the Coosaw River. We headed on up into Parrot Creek to make a left turn and head over to Morgan River. And right now we're in 36 foot of water. Got the spinnaker up, the mainsail. We're moving around 5 mile an hour against the tide. And it's a beautiful, beautiful sunset. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you.